Hey, thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today, let's talk about Big 12 ratings. Are they a problem? Now, I was watching a Big 12 Mafia, college football mafia, whatever they're calling themselves now, Mr. Bomber Brown and Wild Ute and company. And they were talking, of course, about and breaking down the Big 12 ratings as far as getting to around mid-season. They have concerns. Now, so far, according to the, I can't remember who they used exactly, according to the information that they had, the Big 12 had roughly 7 teams that were north of 1 million viewers a week on average. To that I say that's good. You want it somewhere around, you want as close to half the conference, if not more. You can't compare, and this is one of the mistakes they made, you can't compare Big 12 ratings with the SEC or the Big 10. Keep in mind, those two conferences house the biggest viewership ratings draws as far as brands, teams, programs that there is outside of Florida State, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Everybody else that are major ratings draws are in those two conferences. The only one that we have really is Colorado as far as a major ratings draw right now. And yes, they themselves called it the Dion effect, and it is the Dion effect. He has brought a lot of eyeballs, a lot of excitement into the program. Now, they are kind of concerned that once Dion leaves, there goes all the ratings for Colorado and a lot of the average ratings for the Big 12 as well. Some of that is true. However, if Dion can leave Colorado better than he found it, meaning it's a program now capable of winning without him, and you got to remember, Denver's a major market. So they are kind of like the tent pole of Colorado. So there will be ratings for Colorado. Go back and look at the 90s when they were winning. They had plenty of good ratings. I know they were in the Big 12, and so was Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. You know, a lot of great ratings draws there. But Colorado is capable, even without Dion, if they're still competitive, which I believe Dion's going to get them to that spot. If they're still competitive, and that fan base is now active and vibrant, and they are, all right, that Dion is giving you a fan base that has interest now. Before, they didn't care because there's no reason to care. But a post-Dion Colorado, well, now you have a engaged fan base. What is that worth? Probably well over 1 million viewers per week, like most of the other Big 12 teams. Well, half of the other Big 12 teams. And I'm good with that. I mean, you're not going to have 16 teams drawing over 1 million views. You're just not, because some teams are going to suck. Like this year, TCU's ratings have went down substantially. Why? Because they have disappointed. They've disappointed. Now, we still got the rest of the season, because Iowa State is dragging, but remember, there's not many times at all that they ever get over 1 million viewers a week with Iowa State. I'm sorry, it generally doesn't happen. They're a fantastic fan base. There's just not enough of those people. That's the problem. Right now, BYU, strangely, according to that, what they used, their source there for the ratings said that they were under 1 million viewers a week. But generally, BYU is over that. Even on a bad season, they're over that because they have a nationwide fan base. So I personally will use my source media at the end of the season to really see what those numbers are. I'm thinking that BYU is being lowballed a little bit. And I think Iowa State can come up quite a bit because they do have big time games coming up against BYU and others. So I'm not that concerned about that. Now, what I did like to see is Kansas State's numbers have gone up dramatically because let's be frank about it. Even when Kansas State, the year they won the Big 12, they had a really good year that year. Last year they were 8-4. For those 2 years, they were still under 1 million viewers a week on average per game. That sucks because we know Kansas State fans are passionate. All right, I just always thought there was more of them, but then you kind of really think about it. Oh yeah, there's probably a lot more Jayhawks fans, especially nationally, that builds their numbers up when they don't suck. And right now, Kansas has disappointed woefully this year. So I don't see them rebounding, but I'm hoping that trend for Kansas State has really, is really true. Like, okay, they are having a dynamically great year. They have a great chance of winning the conference. They have a great chance of getting to the playoff. I'm really hoping these Kansas State fans stay engaged and they're coming to the table. I hope other Big 12 fans like myself are watching Kansas State because this year they're definitely worth watching. But overall, I'm not concerned about the conference. The true measurement isn't against the SEC or the Big Ten. It's against the ACC. Where do we stack up against them? Because we can't. People need to stop making the mistake of trying to measure the Big 12 versus the Big 10 or the SEC in football. Now, you want to measure it in basketball? Oh, let's drop our drawers and see who pull out the rulers and see who's got the longest one. Because that would be the Big 12 versus them two. But in football, maybe not so much. Baseball? Oh, we can have that measuring contest there too. You see, it depends on the sport. Unfortunately, the biggest sport that makes the most money and gets the most viewership, yada, 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 we all know is football. And the Big 12, we don't stack up to those two. That doesn't mean we can't compete with them. I mean, it was only a couple years ago that TCU beat Michigan in the playoff. You think that's the last time something like that's going to happen? You don't think BYU, Iowa State, or Kansas State is more than capable of pulling an upset against, these staunch freaking teams? And you don't think one of them can beat Texas A&M? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't think Iowa State can beat Texas? I know Texas is a load this year. I know that. But how many times have we seen in this conference that Texas has this amazing year and runs into and trips all over Iowa State? We've seen that before. So, yeah, this team or this conference has the kind of teams that can upset the apple cart. Absolutely. Are we underdogs in a college football playoff? Absolutely we are. I don't care what team it is. It's an underdog. But underdogs win all the time. Every year we see an underdog pull upsets. Every year. I don't care what sport it is. I don't care if it's in college, high school, or the pros. Doesn't matter. Always happens. And people love an underdog story. They absolutely love it. We're all over this nation. We're cheering like a son of a bitch for the Dallas Mavericks versus the Miami Heat. For that one title that Dirk Nowitzki got. He beat King James. He beat the Heatles. And everybody was pulling for it. People love the underdog. That's the secret sauce to the Big 12. We bring to the CFP the underdog. Is A&M an underdog really? Think about that. With all their resources, with the recruiting that they're capable of, are they really an underdog? No, they're not. Is Miami really historically an underdog? No. This is a legendary program. They have no problem at all recruiting on an extraordinarily high level. I mean, if Clemson gets in, are they an underdog? No. 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 They have several recent championships. Where's the underdog here? The G5? That's the only other kind of underdog there is. And that's like an absurd level underdog. But the Big 12 is an underdog that actually has a shot of going on a run, winning a game, winning 2 games in a CFP. And please keep in mind, this is the first year of these 16 teams being together. And if you're going to tell me without Texas, without Oklahoma, without those mainstays in the conference, that we're still going to get nearly half the conference over 1 million viewers a week, where's the downside? Someone, please. What's the problem with that? What's all the hand-wringing about? Give this son of a bitch some time. Give UCF some time to build that thing up. Cincinnati is in a prime spot to build that thing up and get ratings. Once Houston can start turning that thing, if they can get that turned around, get some good recruiting classes in there and build that program up to a winner, that's one that can easily get to 1 million viewers. Everybody in this conference has that ability. According to the source that they use, that the Big 12 Mafia, the college football mafia used, I mean, Arizona has had jack shit for ratings for a long time, and it appears this year they're turning that around, even though it's kind of a little bit of a disappointing year for them. They haven't, they had that bad coaching change, and I know they still have an exciting quarterback, but not everything's completely worked out. I think, they're still going to make a bowl game. I'm sure of that. And maybe a few more wins on top of that. So not some lower bowl. They'll probably get to a decent bowl. But still not what you thought it could be. However, Arizona, first year in the Big 12, vast ratings improvement. That should tell you something. That should really tell you something. There's excitement for these teams that have come into the Big 12 and all combined this new version, this new 16-team Big 12. There's a lot of excitement for it. Because every freaking week, there's drama. You can't say that for all these other conferences. You may get one dramatic game. You may get one great matchup. Here in the Big 12, it's every week. You get multiple, vastly important, not just for the standings and all that, but for the individual fan bases, just freaking monster games every single week. And I don't mean it, they're like Ohio State, Michigan matchups. No, not that kind of viewership. No. But for this fan base and for college football fans in general, fun ass football, tight games, people coming back. It's like no lead is safe ever. That the parity is for real in this league. Let that brew for a few seasons before you start freaking out about our ratings. Because right now, I think you're right where you need to be. If you're the Big 12. With no blue blood brand at all. That we carry those kind of ratings. So all you got to do is look at the American. Go look at the Mountain West right now. Or any other G5 right now. The Americans doing pretty damn well. They are. The Sun Belt, not that bad. They got a couple good teams in there. And there's some interesting matchups going on in the Sun Belt. But the ratings? No. The ratings really aren't there. They are here in the Big 12. And I know people are like, well, it's only like, 1.1 million for whatever team, barely over a million, on average per, but here's the G5 gets nothing close to that. I know there's a lot of people that want to, the Big 12 is just some glorified G5 conference. No, G5 doesn't get near these ratings. Nowhere near. And if you're a programmer, if you're some major freaking media outlet out there, you know damn well, as far as linear and all that shit, where's your ratings draw these days? You can't even get a sitcom to get you 1 million viewers a week for their program. You can't. I mean, in the 90s, 80s, 70s, all the time. Gigantic freaking hits that had gigantic ratings every week. No more. That doesn't happen. Your most consistent ratings draw every week is live sports. Live sports, people. Especially football. The Big 12 is ecstatically valuable. Hugely valuable. Because they bring those kind of ratings. And in every league, the SEC and the Big 10 as well, have plenty of teams that are on the low end of the ratings. The Big 12, 1 year, this year, Houston's probably going to have the worst of the ratings this year. In 4 or 5 years, they could be at the top or near the top. Just depends on how that goes. They're in the kind of market that you need. Oh, it's a pro sports market. Doesn't matter. Go back and look at the ratings of TCU over the last several years. It has been really, really freaking good. And it really helps that you're in DFW. And this is a Dallas Cowboys market. You got a lot of Texas Longhorn fans here. You got a lot of Texas OU fans. A lot of A&M fans. A lot of Texas Tech fans. But people support their local Horned Frogs. It shows most years, even when TCU's down. And I bet by the end of this season, TCU will be one of those teams probably really close, if not right at 1 million viewers a week. Because they typically are. So in is the Big 12 in trouble? Is their viewership, does it have them in trouble? No. It is majorly encouraging the ratings that are going on right now in the Big 12. Like I said, no blue bloods. And we're still doing that. And at the end of the year, I'm going to compare the Big 12 with the ACC, the one you should be equating the Big 12 with. Keep in mind, they have blue bloods. They have Florida State. They have Clemson. They have Miami. They got 3 big ratings draws there with huge national fan bases. So we don't have that advantage. So I'm going to compare it, because I compared it last year, ACC versus Big 12 in the ratings. And you know what? The Big 12 kicked their ass. And I'm going to be more than happy to do it again without Texas, without Oklahoma. Now with the 4 corners. And guess what? I'm pretty sure it's not going to change any. Look, parity rules, man. Ask the NFL. It's a beautiful thing. You got to let it cook. You got to let it simmer. Once it's ready, let the buffet begin, baby. That's all I'm saying. Let it be. And I know all about the buffet. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for this crap. And I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.